Welcome to Dodgers Dogs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network. Casey Porter here, joined by Coach Holt. Coach, it was a crazy night last night, very disappointing. Obviously, Schwarber had the huge night. He hit the home run in the first inning to give the Phillies a lead, but then the Dodgers stormed right back, scored 2 runs in both the first and second inning. Really felt like they were taking the game over. Then you had the bad call, then you had fireworks. I mean, it was just a crazy night. Felt like a playoff game, and it felt like it was like 1970s old school, too.
No kidding. I saw a sacrifice bunt, with the guy on second base in the regular season. Are you kidding me? But anyway, that turned out to, and we'll talk more about that later. But no case, all levels of baseball, how quick things change. Us guys who love baseball and have loved it for years, every pitch means something. Every at bat means something. Every play means something. Those guys that hate baseball say it's boring. It's not boring when
right.
Those sort of things. But when you're in the mix of it, everything matters. A play here, play there. A missed call, whatever. A missed pitch. A bad play by somebody. Everything changes, and that thing blew up on us quick. They scored 5 runs all of a sudden, and the next thing you know, we're in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. And so let's get to the call. I mean, it was a tough call on MiguelRojas. Bohm trying to come into third base. And, in high school, they put this rule in like 10, 15 years ago. So guys like us, we've seen this rule. They originally put it in for home plate. And, they did it. They called it the crash rule. They did it so catchers couldn't block home plate, and then runners wouldn't just run in and run them over like Pete Rose did Ray Foster, right? I mean, that's why the rule was put in. They actually call it the crash rule. So it's meant to keep fielders from blocking a base. But clearly, MiguelRojas was making a play on the ball. There was a lane to the bag. He was making, like I said, I think the big part of it is he was making the play on the ball. Eventually, he had the ball. And so, I mean, it wasn't like he was just standing in front of the bag without the ball, just blocking it and begging the runner to just run over him. So Hunter Wendelstedt definitely put himself in the middle of that game. Didn't need to. Created a problem when there wasn't one. And I just thought it was a poor call. I thought it was poorly executed. I thought it was poorly explained. And it definitely affected the game. Well,
we know cases, like you said, that it's been in high school baseball for a long time. The idea is a fielder cannot block the base without the baseball. And if you look at that play, I don't know what else Rojas could have done.
Nothing.
I mean, he ends up, his legs are spread. He's straddled in the bag as he makes the tag. I mean, he said himself, I think his foot might have touched as he slid in, but he did not impede him. He probably had the ball in his hand as he's tagging him, so he's not impeding him at all. It just makes you wonder sometimes, of course, I'm a manager just like you are, coach for years and years. Sometimes you just think an umpire wants people to see him. I hate saying it that way. I would hate to think it's on the major league level that way, just like, I want everybody to know I know the rules. I got this. Dude, that was one that did not need to be made. We didn't see it in a high school case. We got the idea. We don't want catchers getting ran over. I don't want you blocking the base while you're waiting on the baseball. It's an easy call. It really is. It's not like a block charge in basketball, which you well know, being a basketball official, is the hardest call on the face of the earth to get right. So I don't know. I don't know where that came from, and I don't think the Dodgers. And you don't see DaveRoberts go nuts. I mean, that should tell.
I was proud of him.
Yeah, that should tell Wendelstedt and the other guys going, we may have missed that. And privately, maybe they are. They missed it.
Then say it. Then come out and say it. Don't come out and double down after the game's over on a bunch of crap where everybody knows it's a bunch of crap.
Yeah,
I mean, now at this point, you went from making a bad judgment at the time to just straight up lying whenever you come out after the game and double down on it, in my opinion.
Yeah, the crew chief even came out and backed him after the game.
Yeah, get out of here with that crap.
Just say, hey, tough call, do the best you can do, whatever. I know he missed it, but you don't have to say those words, but we know you missed it. He knows he missed it. Everybody knows it. Be more like the guy who, refresh my memory, who cost a guy a perfect game by missing a call at first base.
Yeah.
The kid comes out, hands it the lineup card. The next day, the guy's in tears. He told him I missed it. I screwed you. I'm so sorry. I screwed up your perfect game. He was a man about it. I wish I could remember the umpire's name. I love the guy for that. But, just say, hey, you've done it. I've done it in basketball. A referee or umpire walk up to you and look you, stand by you and go, Case, I might have missed that, or Tony, I might have missed that. Okay, so I'm shutting up now. I'm going back to the dugout. Just admit it. Just move on. That's a non-reviewable play. I missed it. It goes, whatever. It's 162 games, but that was a big call in a big inning and led to a lot of problems for the Dodgers.
It sure did. The umpire that missed that call was Jim Joyce.
Jim Joyce.
Yeah,
I still see him. What a great way to handle it, though.
Yeah.
He knew it. He told the young man, "I'm so sorry." He was in tears the next day. The guy brought the lineup card out to him. It was a great time in baseball. That he's human. He screwed up, and the kid didn't hold it against him. That was awesome.
Yep, absolutely. And we have a pretty good history and background of a pretty big time officiating in terms of being around some situations of people that we dearly love, that have been in situations just like this in national championship games and in the biggest moments. So when we come at this from an official's perspective, we always back the officials.
Absolutely.
Every single time. I can't do it last night. I just can't back Hunter Wendelstedt. There's just nothing about the way that it was handled that I can say, okay, well, this is what happened, and this is why this happened, and defend it from that perspective. So from there, I mean, it is what it is. I'll say that.
Right.
I don't like the fact that DaveRoberts actually made the statement. I think Dave actually said, "I don't ever do this, but that play lost us the game." Well, no, it didn't. You know what lost you the game was the fact that Joe Kelly walked two guys through a wild pitch, and then after he threw the wild pitch, first base is open, and you still pitch to Kyle Schwarber. Yeah. I mean, any of those things don't happen, and you still might win. And then also, that's not the reason why you scored in the first and the second, then didn't score again, like this Dodgers team. Even in a couple of victories, Coach, they've scored like in the first two innings, didn't score again.
Yep.
That's not the reason why your offense has struggled as of late. So yes, it greatly affected the game. But there's a saying in baseball, and the Dodgers do better than anybody else instilling in this in their players. You control what you can control. You can't control the umpires. That's not one of the things you can control. So at that point, it's like you say, now what?
Yep.
I mean, hey, this call sucked. He missed it. There's no defense. It's really hurt us in terms of our chances of winning this game. But now what? We have to figure out how to not walk two guys, how to make the right decision not to throw to Kyle Schwarber with the base open, and how not to throw a wild pitch. That's what you have to do.
It's like I mentioned off air here, Casey. It's like Billy Buckner, one of my all-time favorite players, a Dodger, a Cub. Love the guy. The greatest, one of the best baseball players ever, and all he's known for is a ball going through his legs. That was Game 6, by the way. What about Game 7? You guys still had a chance to win the World Series, so get off of it. He's out there with a broken ankle still playing. I'm always going to defend Bill Buckner on that because I love the guy. Rest in peace, Billy Buck. That's one of the great guys of all time. So it's the same thing. Yes, that hurts you. I always love the pictures, and you do, Case, of the infielder behind him making error. You see the infielder get the pitcher get the ball and look back at him. I got them. Don't worry about it. I got you. In other words, we're moving on. Baseball's a pitch by pitch game. And we're going to have. You just got to overcome it. Don't look back later. I'm with you on that. Don't look back later and say that cost us. Like me and you both said to our players, if you got the game-winning hit, that was just the last play of the game. I'm proud of you. Yep. If you struck out in the game, the bases loaded, that was the last out of the game. There's thousands of ways to win and lose a baseball game, as we've all said and seen, and that's the same situation here. You didn't lose it right there in that inning. There's a lot of things, as you mentioned, several of them, a lot of things that went on that led to that defeat.
Absolutely, and it happened in the sixth inning. I mean, the Dodgers still had 4 at-bats, and the game got away from the Dodgers. I believe at the time that happened, the Dodgers had a 4-3 lead. Yep. So, I mean, it's like you still had 4 at-bats left. I mean, and you still had the lead at the time, and you were going to bring in Joe Kelly. And so, I mean, like I said, I mean, we'll move on from it. But I just wish Dave's message would have been, hey, that call hurt. It was terrible.
Yeah, it was.
He missed it. This is why I got thrown out. I had to make sure I had my players back. All of this. But, hey, the game's on us. We still as Dodgers, having one of the best rosters in the world, we need to figure out a way to move on and do better than we did for the rest of the game. I just felt like that would have been a better message and the more correct message, both for your club as to say, hey, we're not going to be excuse makers, one, and for just accuracy, in my opinion. But that comes from a long line of playing and coaching and just never using excuses. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. You can on any level, and it's hard sometimes. It's very hard sometimes. Very hard. And like I said, you were raised by one of the best officials I've ever known, one of the best men in the world. I love Terry Porter. Yeah. And so you know what he went through a lot of times on and off the field, just a 50-plus year career of the guy, out there giving himself up to help kids have ball games, basically what he was doing so they could play. Yeah. But anyway, it's just something you just got to move on from. And like I said, you always want to have the guys' backs. And Dave started out his press conference. I'm pretty sure he said it's a tough job. Those guys do a great job. Period. Stop right there. It's a tough job. Those guys do a great job. They missed that one. That's period, close quotes, like you said.
That's fair.
Move on. We'll move on from there.
Having said that, I was totally proud of Dave. I thought, other than just kind of that tone part of it, hey, man, one of the things I complain about him the most is sometimes I think you need to go out there and even if you're not mad, maybe generate it just to kind of show the guys, hey, I've got your back, man. Hey, if something happens to you, I've got your back. They're going to have to go through me to get to you. That's kind of what you're saying as a manager when you go out there and sometimes even generate some anger as you're making that statement. Hey, they're going to have to go through me to get to you. I got your back.
Well, and the Dodgers are struggling. It's been a struggling time for a while. They've been in struggle mode for a while, even though they still lead the division. Ooh, and that thing's a whole nother something else we talk about later, that lead. But anyway, so that's struggle time. The players are – they're starting to – I mean, they've got to be feeling some pressure. Well, they do every day. Let's face it. They're major league players. I got a 19-year-old down on the farm who wants my job, but he's pretty dadgum good. So he's going to take it if I don't wait. So these guys are always under pressure every day they walk in the clubhouse. So there's that. But they need to know. And like I said, Dave don't do that very often. That should tell the umpiring crew right there. We blew that one. We blew that. DaveRoberts doesn't do that. He had good reason, and, we missed it. Move on. Admit it.
You mentioned it. Hey, man, the Padres and D-backs have both won 8 out of their last 10. San Francisco's won 7 out of their last 10. The lead is down to 3. And, hey, like a month or two ago, the Dodgers weren't playing very good and still, like, gaining on their lead in the NL West because just nobody in that division was playing good at all. Suddenly, as we flip the calendar to August, it's become, like, the best division in all the game of baseball.
Yeah.
And we I said for a long time, I thought the Dodgers were going to win the division by double digits. Boy, I was wrong there. Wow.
Well, things change, and there's a lot of factors in that case, and we've touched on a lot of them here. I know you do on your other shows. There's a lot of factors that have led to the Dodgers struggling right now. It's no secrets. We're not a news flash. So everybody kind of gets what's going on, what sees there. But we have said several times, I've said, you said, the Diamondbacks and the Padres are good. First of all, they're not playing well at those days. I said, but don't forget about those cats. One of them's in the World Series last year, and the other one has as good a lineup as anybody in the game. So, and now here they're coming. They're not going away. We felt that before, and there's no doubt about it. Now, Dodgers are 4-6 their last 10. Both those teams are 8-2, so they picked up 4 games on us, both of them, in the last 10. So, they're not going away. We're all, in on the Dodgers. I get it, but, those are talented young teams they're hungry. So those are dangerous teams.
They are. You still have Mookie coming back. That's a good thing. Obviously, not exactly sure about Max Muncy, but Mookie's a great player, but again, he's coming off of injury and one that can greatly affect the offensive side of the game.
Yep.
He's going back to shortstop, and we're not, like I said, not exactly sure about Max Muncy, but. Where is your concern level for this team? I mean, are you still kind of in the coach mode? Like, we still have a 3-game lead. We're good. We're getting these guys back. It's fine. We, just need to get through this tough patch here, and everything will be good. So, are you there? I mean, as far as that scale goes, where are you at?
I'm a little bit closer to panic mode. Not you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's always been, it's 162, and we've always said it, which is true. True. But the fan comes out in me too. First of all, because I know those teams are good that are coming up on us. If those teams are just hot, you're thinking, don't worry about it. They're hot now. They're going to cool off again.
Right.
I don't know those two because they both are proven to be good, talented young teams, again, who are hungry. So, we're getting deep enough into your case. I mean, almost to the middle of August, we're getting down to the, that time, it's getting close. So I wouldn't say panic mode, but I'm concerned as heck because I look around. Yes, we don't know if we'll get Muncy back and what he's going to look like when he gets back. And it could be the same thing with a Mookie. A hand is important for a baseball player. So, and Ohtani's, he's 0 for 5 last night. He's still one of the greatest players on the planet, but he's not tearing it up either.
Will's not either.
So in the bullpen, is not. is not performing real well. And the starters haven't been bad considering, but they're not dominating by any stretch. But they've given you a chance to win. I think every one of them outside of Kershaw's one start, but his last start was good. I mean, I think they've all given you a chance to win. So there's some concern with the bullpen performance. Offense, like you said, scoring in clusters, kind of inconsistent. I'm pretty concerned, to be real honest with you. I have no doubt in my mind of, and I hate saying this because, if they were healthy, they're not healthy. Again, I'll go back to now what? One of the greatest things ever said. Now what? I mean, we don't have time.
We don't.
We got a day off today. Rest up a little bit, do whatever. And then you start a pretty tough stretch. Pittsburgh's nothing to sneeze at. Then you got
great pitching too.
Yeah, then you got Milwaukee. We got the Cardinals coming up. The Cardinals are playing well. And then the Diamondbacks, I think. I kind of looked at it. As you mentioned before, the schedule is tougher for the Dodgers. So I'm really concerned. I'm not ready to panic, but I'm getting concerned because the schedule is not getting any easier. And you just, I don't know how much, you got Betts, you got, Muncy, then what? I mean, who else we got coming back? That's our guys. It's good. Gavin Lux is hit still.
Tommy Edman maybe, but he's a league average offensive player.
Yeah, exactly. You're not sitting there. You're not like, hey, we got our four big bangers out. We get them back. Okay, well, I got you. But you just don't know. So there's a concern. I'm talking as a fan. But if I was managing that ball club like Dave, I'd be very concerned too. Anybody in the front office is going to be concerned because you look around. We passed the trade deadline. I know you can still make some moves, but you're like, what we got to do? We need to do something, but I don't know what we can do. So that's a frustrating time for everybody, mainly fans, because we panic. We
are, man. We're fanatics.
Yeah, me and you probably don't because we try to look at it from the coaching side of it, but we are fans. There's no kidding around. This is the fan side that we're on, and we love the Dodger fans. And when everybody's ready to fire Roberts every time we lose, I love those guys because they have that passion for Dodger baseball. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right. And the moves that you mentioned that you can still make, the trade deadline has come and gone, so you can't just straight up trade players. But what can happen is teams can DFA a guy, and then you can trade for him in the DFA market or claim him off of waivers. So it could be like a Kevin Kiermaier type of guy, a Nick Ahmed type of guy. There are still guys out there, Brent Honeywell, but you wouldn't think on the offensive side of the baseball that a the Dodgers have done great with the DFA guys like a Brent Honeywell and all those guys. But the impact bat that the Dodgers, it feels like they need, you wouldn't think you could get a guy like that in that scenario. Okay, the fireworks, Coach. Of course, Michael Grove, he was not throwing at Nick Castellanos. I get it. Hey, there's an unwritten rule. Up and in is off limits, and that was pretty high. So I understand both sides of this. Michael Grove wasn't trying to hit him. Maybe, yes, he was trying to buzz his tower a little bit, but he definitely wasn't trying to hit him. I've talked to Michael several different times. I know Michael fairly well all the way back to West Virginia. And usually, yes, he does have pretty good control. But I also understand if you've never seen a 98-mile-an-hour fastball or however fast that was going, come at your head, you don't understand the anger and the fear and that goes through your mind, even as a professional. It's real. So I understand Castellanos I thought he was very fair with hey, that's a big miss, dude. Up on my head. That's pretty big, dude. Yeah. That's not cool. I understand the retaliation, and I understand the fact that the Dodgers realized that I think they felt like Castellanos was fair too, in my opinion. Yeah. Just the way I just felt like everybody felt like, hey, this is kind of how baseball works. We all got our say in. Now let's move on.
Well, it used to be the old days case. You hit one, I hit one. Unless your name's Don Drysdale, he used to hit two for every one of you. That was his rule. Every one of mine you hit, I hit two.
Or Bob Gibson,
Bob Gibson. No, I ain't stopping at one. I'm hitting two every time
I'm hitting one. Everybody to the bases loaded, and I'm striking everybody. You guys out.
Yeah. That's why Big Don Drysdale is an all-time favorite. But anyway, Castellanos, I like the guy. I like the Phillies ball club. I love Schwarber. I'm a baseball fan, Case. Yeah. I like guys like that. Castellanos the other night had his hat off over his heart when Freddie first came up. The other night when Gratterall goes hurt, they show the Phillies dugout. Schwarber's over shaking his head like he was hurting for the guy. Yeah. Those are true baseball guys. They get it. Yeah, stay off the head. I don't, hit me in the back, in the butt, whatever, but I get it. But baseball will police itself if they'll let it. What I don't like is when a lot of guys want to charge a mound when the ball's up. And, Okay, have your say, dude. Don't go there. Then if it does it again, then okay, have at it. But I'm just saying, baseball will usually police itself if they'll let it. That's what usually ticks managers off.
No doubt.
They hit somebody. Now you warn us. I can't retaliate now. Hey, just let me have my hit, then warn everybody. Let's go let's go 1 for 1, then you warn everybody. Okay, let baseball police itself. It used to.
Which it did last night. I thought that part of it was good.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
that's why. And I like the Phillies ball club. They got some veteran guys who get it. Bryce Harper, he's texting Freddie the whole time.
Yeah, they have an edge.
Those are real guys. They got an edge. They've been there before. Schwarber's was he's been big time for all the way back to his college days.
He has.
Probably back in high school. We don't know.
Well, he led Indiana to the College World Series. That's enough said.
If you can do that, you're a stud. But so I love the ball club. I like those guys. I like that team. Obviously, I'm more of a Dodger fan. My brother-in-law, Phillies fan, so I'll hear that from him today about us losing 5 out of 6 to them. Yeah, I guess that I saw that they hadn't won a series since they swept.
Yeah, since they swept us last time.
The last series they won against the Dodgers, so that's a little bit alarming moving forward. As we know, things change in the playoffs. A year we spanked the Padres all year, then they beat us in the playoffs. So I know that can change. We all get that, but that is a little bit concerning.
Yeah, and Gavin Stone, I think you hit it exactly right. I don't think anything was great. I don't think anything was necessarily terrible. It was just kind of okay. He just kind of gave his team a chance to where if they play some offense, they still have a chance to win. So I think the results for Gavin Stone were just okay. I mean, not catastrophic,
Right.
Obviously not dominant or unbelievable or anything, but the Phillies are pretty good. So that's kind of how I came out of Gavin Stone's performance last night.
I agree. And let's face it, Schwarber, he's 3 different pitches to 3 different parts of the field. You're talking about a big-time hitter. So don't even go there. I don't want to hear about that.
Yeah.
It's a big-time major league hitter. You throw him 3 different pitches, he hits them all out to all different parts of the field. So, and we always said that, even at our level, the high school level, American Legion, those times, just give us a chance to win. You don't have to strike everybody out. That's what these other guys are for. Give us a chance. Don't walk a whole lot of people. If you're doing your job and we're making 5 errors behind you, I'm sorry. We're going to lose that game. But, just give us a chance. Let us play some, whatever. It's a team game. So just give us – and I think, for the most part, the starts hadn't been bad. I still feel bad for Robleski. He lost 2 starts because he got lost on late. He left for the lead. I know River Ryan has probably lost a couple just that the bullpen didn't take care of. So those guys are at least giving you quality starts where you got a chance. And last night, I guess just don't give up 2 runs. We had 4 when he left, so he didn't get the loss. So you can't ask for a whole lot more out of that. Like I said, it wasn't great, but it wasn't horrible.
No, Bessie got the loss.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of a cluster. It was kind of like just a series of unfortunate events, and it just felt like it's kind of like in wrestling. It's like you try to get out of guys got you in a move, and it's like the harder you try, the more he just gets in the move. Right? It's like it's the more you get sucked in. It's like the more the Dodgers tried to get out of the situations last night, the worse it got for them.
Yeah.
But the worst part of it definitely was Joe Kelly. It was just bowling shoe ugly, Coach. I don't mean to be throwing a guy under the bus or being overly negative or any of that. You just got to call it what it is. Yeah. I mean, whenever you walk 2 guys in front of Kyle Schwarber, then you throw a wild pitch. In the middle of a big game, it's just. And I know nobody's hurting worse than him when those outings happen. Trust me, nobody knows when they aren't doing good better than the person that's not doing good. Yep. There's no reason to reinforce it other than the fact that we have a show. This is what we do, and we talk about it the next day. But man, you got to be worried about Joe Kelly. So I guess the question here is, you mentioned if you're Dave Roberts, you're very concerned about what's going on. There's no doubt about it. This is one of the situations you have to be churning. Dave said very point blank, only the best players play on this team, only the players that perform. That's great when you're talking about rookies that have options.
Yep.
That's great when you're talking about fringe players that none of the fans are going to really throw a big fit about. It's not going to be great if it's Mariachi Joe, the guy you're talking about. That's a tough situation.
No, there's no doubt about it. It's not going to be good when you're talking about, the Hayward, the Kiermaier, the veteran players who who really aren't performing real well. Those are tough decisions. Like I said, the other ones are easy. Which you got guys who have been proven before, and we love Joe Kelly. I know I saw your interview with him. We've all loved that dude.
Awesome dude.
And I know DaveRoberts does too. And he's not trying to walk anybody. That's the worst thing a coach has ever said in the history of baseball. Hey, throw strikes. It's the stupidest thing you can say. So we learn not to do that, Case, as managers and coaches. But there's no doubt he wasn't trying to do that, but it happened. So there's some concern there, because he's usually pretty much spot on around the plate. When Joe Kelly's Joe Kelly, he's 98, 99, and he's around the plate, and he's competing his tail off, and he's competing last night too. It just wasn't real pretty. So no, there could be some tough decisions made there too. But by the same token, I'll speak from a high school principal that I retired as. Change isn't always good. It doesn't. Not
always good. Right?
I can go fire a teacher because you don't like him, but what if I bring in one that ends up being worse, or I'll fire a coach that's not performing? This guy's terrible. So people think when you make changes, it always gets better. Sometimes it don't. So you got to have a better answer. If you've got somebody you think is going to be better than him, yes, you got to pull the trigger. But who is that, Case? I mean,
it'll be Ryan Brazier if Ryan Brazier comes back up. Yep. That's part of the roster crunch.
Yep. Some things are going on. You're right, and some guys down on the farm too. I agree.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. I love the fact, I've said it all year, that I've said it for a long time. I think Dave does a wonderful job, but when it comes down to the really crunch time, hey, dude, I don't mean to hurt your feelings here, but honestly, this is the decision I'm going to make. This is a merit decision, a system decision. And, hey, we're going with the best guy. We don't think that's you at this moment. I think that's where Dave has struggled in the past because he's such a nice guy and such a player's manager.
Yep.
So I love the tone that he's setting with those comments that, hey, we're only going to put the best guys out there, the guys that give us the best chances to win. This is the Dodgers. We have to win. Gavin Stone said the other day, it's fun being a part of a team where the fans are demanding a world championship, that kind of thing. But it's just going to be very, very, very interesting to see just exactly who the merit system applies to and who it doesn't. That's the real issue you have with. That's why I never put rules in, even in my classroom. I don't put them in black and white because the kids immediately start trying to break all the rules. We're going to use common sense here. You don't ever want to paint yourself into a corner that you can't get out of. And so when you start making comments like, hey, if you don't perform, you're not going to be on the roster, that kind of thing, you got to be real careful when you make that, because ShoheiOhtani might go 0 for 19.
Yep.
Now what do we got? What it looks like is a double standard, right? So it's just a difficult situation Dave's in there.
No, there's no doubt about it. You got to be very careful what you say. And I'm with you on the rules. Gary Ward, the great OSU coach, Oklahoma State coach that we talk about a lot, his rule was do the right thing.
Do the right thing.
He says, and every one of you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
So if you don't do 100%. The right thing, then I'll deal with it. So that was a simple rule he had. Yep. You know what? Like I used to tell students, if you have to think twice about it, you're right. Your first thought was correct. If you have to think twice, don't do it, because you were correct. So, you have those things as we go back. This all relates, though. I mean, Dave's he's a headmaster of this class. It's called the LA Dodgers, a bunch of millionaire players. But it comes down to it on the nut cut time. It's the same thing. He's dealing with personalities and trying to, but you got to watch the double standard. I don't know how many times me and you probably both been accused of playing politics. Who's on the field? They got the right last name. I just heard this the other day. Hey,
Yeah, right. I don't want to win. You're right.
Yeah. Fairview's won 2 straight state titles in football out here. Heard somebody say, "Well, you got to have the right name to play in Fairview."
Oh yeah.
No, you got to be good at playing Fairview because they're won 30 games in a row for a reason. But anyway, it's the same old thing. Nobody knows who Fairview is but me and you. But anyway,
yeah, right.
But it's the same concept on any level, and it's very dicey. You have to watch how Dave's got to watch it. Like you said, hey, you're not performing, you're not playing, and Shohei throws out an 0 for 19. He's still playing.
He's still playing.
I was watching Dylan.
I meant everybody except for these core of guys that we're talking about. These core guys are safe. Yeah. Everybody else is on the merit system.
Well, it's like
that's the problem you have.
I saw Dylan Jimmy Johnson the other day. He cuts a guy for sleeping at a team meeting, but his name wasn't Aikman, Smith, or Irvin.
Or Irvin,
if those guys are asleep at the meeting, it's like, hey, somebody wake Troy up.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is kind of important. This way.
Your backup right guard, get his ass out of here.
This guy got cut just for sleeping. He's like the third team guard. Yeah, see you later, dude. So that's Jimmy Johnson, one of the great coaches. So he don't make no bones about it. So, we're holding up the plane if Troy's not on here. Another dude, we're leaving him. But anyway, so that's just the nature of personality. But everybody knew that about Jimmy. That's what made it great. They had that fear factor of it. I'm the backup guard. He ain't waiting on me. I better be there. But anyway, so it's a tough situation for everybody. But that's what Dave gets paid for. And I personally like the guy, the way he handles himself. I always kind of felt like I was a baseball. I always felt like kind of like I was a player's manager. You played for me. You can answer that. But I'm just saying, you're tough when you have to be. You love them. Kick them in the tail when you have to. All those things go together. The players will take a butt chewing as long as they know you care about them and love them. So I think Dave's that guy. So he doesn't have an easy job, and but I like having him in charge. I'll put it that way.
And they don't have easy decisions. That's kind of where we're heading, and we're kind of getting to the nuts and bolts of what's going to make these decisions so difficult. I mean, it's just, as fans, sometimes we see these guys as numbers on the back of a card, and we forget that these guys are humans. You also forget the guys that are making the decisions about these people are humans too. Andrew Friedman's a human. Brandon Gomes a human. Billy Gasparino a human. DaveRoberts a human. You get attached to these guys, and you love these guys. And the last thing, so you got to do the right thing, no doubt about it. But as a human, it's gut wrenching to have to come in and sometimes make decisions like to tell James Outman you're getting option back down. That is, nobody had fun doing that. It's a terrible situation, but it is what it is. It's business, Coach. So hey, we're not going to have it down the farm today. There wasn't a whole lot of great action last night. There was some, no doubt about it. Chris Campos maybe turned in the best performance of any minor league pitcher last year, throwing 8 innings, didn't walk anybody, didn't give up any runs. Diego Cartaya had 2 home runs. He had a grand slam as well. And so there was some good action. Patrick Copen threw really well for Great Lakes. There was some great action. We're going to get into that tomorrow with Austin. Austin's actually going to be in Midland, Michigan, watching the Great Lakes Loons with his own eyes, so we're going to cover a big down the farm tomorrow. So won't get to that today, Coach, but hey, final thoughts as we wrap today's show up.
Like I say, you talk about what these guys are going through, the personal side of them. I love Hard Knocks on HBO. I just watched the first one for the Bears last night. I don't care who it is. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan until the day I die. But I love watching the Hard Knocks because it shows. It's not just about the football side of it. It shows a tough time when they have to cut a kid, or the GM, what he's going through, or the head coach. You see the backstories of all that. That's why I love that stuff. I get where I pull for those teams every year. Of course, Rex is a diehard Bears fan, so I've always been there. So the personal side of those
Nobody knows why, but that's okay.
That's right. I never figured out how yet, but Jeff Ventress too. Who knows? But anyway, those guys are going through a lot of things here. So the Dodgers, we got slapped in the face that these guys are human beings with the Freddie Freeman situation. This dude, he puts us all as parents, gut wrenching. Brought me to tears watching this press conference. So those guys are all humans. They have to deal with their home lives and things that are going on. Plus, like I said, they got a 19-year-old down the farm who's a stud. He wants your job. So they have pressure on him every day. The manager, thank God George Steinbrenner isn't the owner of the Dodgers. Or probably already fired Dave. So I don't know what the parameters are there. But, here's a Cadillac dude and you're driving it. A lot of things out of his control, the injuries. There's things you can't control in baseball, injuries and weather. As much as you love to. Doesn't matter, though. It's the same way if you're playing for the New York Yankees. Boone ain't going to be around either if they keep, And I think he's personally done a good job. If you're a Yankee or a Dodger, hey, dude, here's what we got. Should be that way in my Cowboys, but it didn't. But that's another story. We're not getting into that. But anyway, so I love the Dodgers. Can't wait for the next series. Get their day off today to kind of catch their breath, hopefully. They got to go play around the golf, or stay home and go watch a movie. Go watch Twisters and look at the gas station out in Fairview, Oklahoma that's in there. It's getting blown away.
Absolutely.
They filmed that out there, by the way. I love it. But anyway,
absolutely. Top golf or something
like that. Yeah. So anyway, but go Dodgers. love you, Case. It's always good to be on with you. Give my love to Terry and Bev.
Will do. Absolutely. So, hey, fans, I want to thank you for tuning in. It has been another fun show. Always great to see your face, Coach. I love you. So thanks to everybody for tuning in, and it's a great day to be a Dodger.